Hello, welcome to another stream. How about that? How about that? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is a Sunday, and that means today, according to the schedule, we're doing a game development. How about that? No long hair today. Yeah, I cut it off completely. Hello, Out9. Hello, Mr. Vodka, F Mega. Good Duke, Hotzenplots, Hotzenbot. Hello, 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 Partner Puddy, John, Crazy Wolf, Kattison, hello, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as I already mentioned, today, according to the schedule, we're doing game development, but there is advent of code in place, in progress, I think in place, and so we're actually like lagging behind a little bit. So we're gonna do as usual. First we're gonna solve the advent of code problem, and then we're gonna try to continue game development. What happens to previous headphones? They actually kind of stopped working. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but I didn't have much time to troubleshoot. Hello, hello, Yadanasov, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, yeah, let me actually sip my tea because I need to wake up for some reason. I'm really sleepy right now, even though I woke up like, I don't know, more than 7 hours ago. So, yeah, let me go to my thingy-majingy, the place where I have all of my Advent of Code source codes. It's called AOC 2020, by the way. You can find the source code of my solutions here if you want. And let me see if I need to fetch anything. So I need to fetch prune origin. There we go. Prune origin, and I don't need to merge anything, which is kind of great. So let's create the fourth day, and let's go into the fourth day. And I have not decided on the language yet, so yeah, I'll see how we can do that. Okay, so we need to solve the fourth problem. So the fourth problem has to be solved in fourth. Am I right? So yeah, for those who doesn't know, fourth is a programming language. So it's a stack-based programming language. I don't really know it that well to, you know, efficiently program in it. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna attempt it. If I'm gonna attempt it, I will probably need like a little bit of a preparation before jumping into the problem, but it should be pretty straightforward. I know how to solve simple things. 50 years ago, my god, it's very old. It's as old as C, if I remember correctly, but we're not gonna use that today. All right, so day 4. Passport processing. You arrive at the airport only to realize that you grabbed your North Pole credentials. Okay, so my brain didn't immediately like saw credentials. You grabbed your North Pole, whatever. Credentials instead of your passport. While these documents are extremely similar, North Pole credentials aren't issued by a country and therefore aren't actually valid documentation for travel in most of the world. It seems like you're not the only one having problems, though. A very long line has formed from the automatic passport scanners, and the delay could upset your travel. What the fuck? Okay, I'm pretty sure knowing what this word means is not really that important for understanding the problem. Hopefully, I'm not gonna even try to translate that. Due to some questionable network security, you realize you might be able to solve both of these problems at the same time. Yeah, literally fucking hack into the system, right? Just fucking hack into the system and solve your problem. The automatic passport scanner are slow because they are having trouble detecting which passport have all required fields. I like how they highlighted that, like, you know, with highlight. Which passport have all required fields. The expected fields are the following: birth year, issue year, expiration day, height, hair color, eye color, passport ID, country ID. Cool. Passport data is validated in batch files, your puzzle input. Each passport is represented as a sequence of key value pairs separated by a space or new line. Passports are generated by blank... Oh, separated, not generated. Jesus fucking Christ. Passports are generated by blank lines. Here is an example batch file containing 4 passports. Okay, so by spaces or new lines. Okay, so yeah, this is very interesting. So this is a single passport, if I understand correctly, right? And the passports are separated by these like blank lines. The first passport is valid, all 8 fields are present. The second passport isn't valid, it is missing HGT, the height field. The third password is interesting. The only missing field is CID, so it looks like the data from no, the passport. Oh, surely nobody would mind if you made the system temporarily ignore missing CID field. Treat this passport as valid. Oh, interesting. So, and I don't quite understand. So the only missing, so like it has to have all of these fields except CID, right? This is very strange. Okay. The fourth password is missing to field. Missing CID is fine, but missing any other field is not, so this password is invalid. According to the above rules, your improved system would report 2 valid passwords. Count the number of valid passwords, those that have all required fields. Treat CID as optional. In your batch file, how many passwords are valid? Okay, so this one is not that complicated. It's just you need to parse like all of these bullshit thing and just count how many valid passports you have. So, and chat is discussing dyeing hair. Okay, that's very interesting. So which language should we use today, chat? Which language should we use? What do you guys think? What is that? Lua, come on. Tickle, Husky, we already used Husky. Cock, Cabal, D-Lang. Actually, D-Lang sounds like a pretty cool idea. I'm gonna try to do that in D-Lang. We already did Rust. A fourth is, I don't really know fourth that well, so let's try D. How about that? Let's try some D. Without further interruption, let's celebrate and write some D. Okay. Yep, D. And I don't remember how to do that. I think it's just to write len, is it not? I forgot how to program in fucking D. Hello world. Yesu. And we'll probably have to enter the development environment first, right? So prepare chat sodding is gonna give us the D. What the fuck is wrong with you, chat? Calm down. So where do I have that? DMD. Okay, DMD is located in somewhere here. And yeah, let me enter the environment with DMD, and I'm gonna go to Zozin AOC. Fourth problem. Cool. So I think I should be able to just build this thing like that. Right one is not okay. So you first have to import stdio. Oh, there we go. Import stdio. Okay, maybe I should use Emacs because it's kind of meh. Nix shell. Yeah, it's almost like a Nix shell. Alrighty. Okay, cool. So if I try to build this, you know, let's use makefiles, because we've been using makefiles throughout the advent of code. Why not use them right now? I think it's a good idea. DMD main D. Okay, and then I can just do, and it just does, and then the solution goes, and everything is fine. You know what I mean? Everything is fine. So how are we going to fucking solve all of that? Yeah, I think we're gonna have like a state machine of some sort, right? So basically it's gonna have like 2 states. I don't know. We will need to collect the fields into some sort of a place. And I don't remember, does D have tuples? Does D have tuples? Like, where can we store all of these fields? D-lang tuples. It does have tuples. Cool. Let me take a look at them. Compile time sequences, tuples. You may also be looking for tuples. Here's the tuple, so we can have something like that, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the right thing to have. And I also want to have some sort of like a dynamic array in which I can push new things. So, but I'm not sure. Is there something like a vector? There's std array. Where can I push things? Okay, int is dynamic, but as far as I know, to push something there, you will have to resize it all the time, which is not particularly convenient. So I wanted something with a push operation, right? So something like append or... So there's an appender. Okay. Okay, cool. So you can use... Now you can just use this to append. All right. So cool. So that means let's actually not use any of the tuples. Let's create a field, right? So a field is going to have a string name. I think string is just that, and string value. That's what we're gonna have here. And let's create a field. Fields. So can I push? How do I construct things? Okay, so dlang construct struct. Is there like struct literals or something that I can easily construct? I already forgot. I programmed in D a little bit, and I already forgot everything. Struct literals. Okay. Okay, cool. So we can do it like that. Cool, 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 cool. So fields, and I want to just add a bunch of things here. Yeah, I already googled it up. Thank you. The cool thing about D is that documentation is relatively good. You can just put something in Google, and it will find it right away. I really like that. So I think it's super cool. Yeah. So and test. And I want to try to print this entire thing just to see if it's going to do the thing I want. So we're going to do it like that. And it takes some time. And there we go. We managed to print everything. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. So every time I try to do something in Go, it just fucking compiles. I fucking hate it. All right. So cool. So that means this is where I can collect the fields. Is there any way for me to then clean everything up? Probably. I'm not 100% sure. But we may also want to have a function is valid, right, which accepts the fields, right, and answers the question whether this entire thing is valid, right? Is valid, is not implemented, right? So we're just gonna accept this kind of fields. Alright, so I also want to start reading the file. I forgot how you can read the files, especially line by line. So let's do dlang read file. So how do you do that? Is there any example? Maybe we can even just read the whole file into the memory and just split it by lines. So we can read by char. Okay, that's not exactly what I want. What about std file? What about std file? Read text is probably what you want. Maybe that's what I want. But I want to kind of handle that in a loop. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at read text. What's up, everyone who just joined? Hello, Mustafa Salih. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Katison Levinson. Hello, welcome. I like how I already clicked on all of these links because I worked with D before. But since I switch languages very quickly, I keep forgetting how to work with all of this shit because this information doesn't stick with me at all. Okay, so read text. What does read text accept? Reads and validates a text file. S can be an array of any character, however, no width or endian. Example, okay. Delete me is the name of a temporary file. Remove delete me. So this is not a full example. I don't quite understand. Like, do I provide a file name? Okay, so let me try to do that. So I'm gonna do write ln read text input txt. This time is gonna be just sample, right? So let's do sample txt. sample txt, and where is advent of code? We're gonna take this thing from here, and we're gonna just run it. You know what? I'm gonna do the following thing. I'm gonna do a phony run. Run depends on main, and it just runs the main. That's it. It's simple as that. Would you look at that? And I can just do make, and it doesn't even compile. Nice. I really like that, because if we go to semicolon, cool, and it still doesn't compile because function has no return. Ah, okay. No smart compiler. Found a bug in my code. It doesn't have a read text because I didn't import something very important. std file. Okay, so let's import std file then. Import std file, and let's just try to run it one more time. And yeah, it actually read it. So that means read text just accepts this entire thing. Okay, dlang string split by lines. Again, I forgot how to do that. Split lines. Okay, cool. So that means next step, I can just do like all of that in a very functional style, right? Split lines, right? So split lines. It accepts a line separator. Is there an example? Okay, cool. I think I have to wrap it, right? I cannot chain it like with method calls, right? I cannot easily chain it. So, by the way, let me actually change my title, because according to the title, I'm doing advent of code in D, right? Everyone loves D. You should be able to chain it. So does it have like a universal like syntax or something? I'm really sorry, like I've programmed in D like a couple of times and I didn't touch it since then. Okay, so it doesn't have a property string, so it does have that, but it didn't work. So maybe I have to just do it like that then. No property split lines with strings, so it didn't work, I'm sorry. So split lines, or maybe wait a second, maybe I need to import. Yes, okay, yes. Okay, so I need to import std string, so that makes sense. Do I have to still call it? Oh shit, look at that, yeah. Yes. And look at this, we can clearly see where you have to stop. So that's pretty convenient, not gonna lie. That is really convenient. So, and how are we gonna handle all of that? That's actually pretty interesting. One thing we can do, so we can do something like for each line in, I think it's something like this. This is how we iterate those lines, right? So I can just do write a line, right? Hello, Asante, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Okay, so this is how we can handle all of them. So essentially, I can have a function, right? Parse fields. So it accepts a bunch of fields, and I don't know what exactly happens when you pass an array like that. Does it pass an array by a reference? That's a very good question. This is something that we'll have to find out. And then it also accepts the line, and what it essentially does, it parses the line and appends those fields to that array, right? So afterwards, we can do the following thing. Oh yeah, if line is not empty line, right? If line is not empty line, what we have to do, we have to just parse fields. We have to provide the fields and the line. If it is, right? If it is, we need to validate this entire thing. Line empty. Okay, so thank you so much for the help. Right, if line empty, we have to do what? So we're gonna keep track of the result, and if is valid, right, we provide those fields. If it's valid, we increment the result, right, because we need to count how many valid passwords we have, right? So that's what we need to do. And after that, we have to clean the array, right? We have to clean it, but I have no idea if something like this is gonna work. It's probably not gonna clean a clear. So is there any way to empty an array? Is there any way to do that? So we can take a look at the dlang array. So that will be actually pretty convenient. Clear. Okay. Clears the managed array. This allows the element of the array to be reused for appending. Okay, so that should be available, but it's not available for me because I didn't import std array. Okay, that makes sense. So now this thing should compile. And it doesn't compile because actually cannot deduce the function from candidates are. So this is really strange, like what the fuck? Does it accept anything? I don't think it accepts anything. Like, I mean, do I have to initialize this thing somehow? Do I have to create it or something? Okay, so we have an array. I can try to like create an empty one. Maybe that's what I need to do. But no, it doesn't seem to be. It's object. Template object clear cannot deduce function from arguments. Yeah, it doesn't work. Is this because I don't have to do it like that? No, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. So even though documentation says you can just use clear, alright, and whatever the heck clear is, clear is the managed array. No, clear is disabled for immutable and const appender. I didn't think so. I've had this template thing with pointer value failure as well. Okay, so that's really strange. Okay, let's Google that. dlang array clear. How do you clear array in D? Multiple declarations. Okay, so people are talking about that at least. Function, the constructor array, multiple declarations, remove all elements from the array. Post condition function. I don't know. I literally don't know. So another thing we can do actually is something like this. We can Google up straight up this error, and maybe that will tell us something. How to ambiguous template overload. So what do we have here? So people are not talking about that. This is such a simple thing. Currently I try to get the latest compiles, and people are talking about that. Yes, this is the most straightforward thing that you may want to have. Container array is something different. There is no ambiguity. Clear is a function that operates on associative array, not dynamic arrays, which is what. Now that of course doesn't mean the code works. The issue is clear was renamed to destroy and remove. So in summary, replace clear with destroy and things should work. Okay. Hello UA Bart, welcome to the stream. Excuse me. And okay, so I forgot to say dlang. How to destroy? I don't really want to destroy it. Wait a second. Can you do something like dlang array? Dlang array. I think I remember something like this. So array length. I think this is how you clean it. Believe it or not, this is how you clean it. It just like for a second, it just sort of like popped up from the back of my head. Yeah. Oh shit. God fucking damn it. No. Yeah, we can do all of this. Yeah, I need to sip on my tea a little bit because that was a little bit frustrating. I already hate it. Why? It makes sense. This is essentially how would you implement a dynamic array in C, right? In C, you would have something like, let's actually go to the C mode. Right, you're gonna have something like array, right, that has length, right, then that also it has capacity and the data associated with it, right. So essentially, to clean such array, if you have something like this, right? To clean such array, you would literally do a length equal to 0, and then you would have a push method, right? Push that accepts that array and automatically check that you're trying that you overflow in the capacity. If you overflow in the capacity, it will extend it, and so on and so forth. It's actually very close to how you would do that in C. So I didn't see any problems with all of that. So yeah. Cool. Now we need to parse the fields. By the way, isValid is not implemented yet, but one of the things we can do while it is not implemented, just to write the fields of the passports, so we can at least see them. All right, the next thing we need to do, chat. By the way, let me close all this garbage. I'm gonna garbage collect my tabs. All right, because this information is not that needed anymore. So they are separated by spaces, right? They are separated by spaces. So let's do the following thing. I'm gonna take a line and split. So is it split by dlength split string? No one cares about committee flexible array. What are you talking about? Okay, so this one is gonna be space. Examples. Okay, and then we can try to iterate through all of them. Maybe not. Yeah, one of the things we can do is map them all, and essentially we're gonna have a single field here, and that single field can be already split by a colon, right? So we can do split split by a colon, and I'm not sure how easy this would be to implement and everything. So we're splitting by the colon, and I will need to transfer that. I'll need to transfer all of that. I mean, construct a field out of that. So is there any way for me to like have a lambda that looks like this, right? And then inside of that, is that a thing I can do in D? I'm not quite sure. Because that will be, oh, okay, I can do that, that's nice. Because what I want to do now is just assign this field key value to something like that, maybe do something like toArray, right? I'm not sure if I can easily do that, but I can try to do that. And after that, I can try to, do I have to return out of it? Okay, so I'm making way too many assumptions about this kind of stuff, but key value is going to be 0 and key value is going to be 1, so it's going to be name and value. And afterwards, what was the template that takes the lambda so is missing? Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, and can I do toArray now and append this entire thing to here? And another question, can the fields be repeating? So that's another interesting question that I have. So let's try to compile all of that, and of course it's not gonna work because, yeah, semicolon, is it because of semicolon? Oh shit, it's almost worked, I think. No property map for string, perhaps std algorithm. Okay, that at least it tells me that I need to import something. That's actually pretty good. Std algorithm, okay, good. And no property string, perhaps std conversion. Okay, so I mean, if you know what I need to import, why don't you import it yourself? Okay, so do we have I kind of know why. Doesn't match template 2. Hello, Thresh5. Nice. I'm really glad that you exercised. Okay. You know what? I think this kind of functional bullshit is not really useful. So one of the things we can do, we can like write that in a little bit more imperative code, because going through all of these template like problems, I just don't want to do that. So we can reorganize it slightly like that. So we're gonna have that, and then we're gonna have specific fields here, right? So this is a single field, and then we can do for each of them, right? So it's already a little bit easier. And then we can do the following thing. I'm not even sure if toArray is really needed here, so maybe I can just use it directly like that. And then I can have a field right, fields, and I can just append this entire thing here, and it's already a little bit more readable. Maybe, hopefully, it will be. There we go. Would you look at that? Isn't that amazing? And it didn't do anything. I really like how it didn't do anything. That is cool. Right, it didn't actually work with that. So do we really have 3 passports here? No, we don't have 3 passports here because we didn't encounter the last empty line. So that means the last action here has to be this, right? So this has to be the last action. Yeah, and afterwards we're gonna have 4 passports. Yeah, at least we have now like 4 passports. But the problem is that they didn't parse shit. So, and this is probably because this thing was passed by a value rather than a reference. So dlang pass by reference. Pass by reference, pass by value. Yes, please tell me. Oh, I don't want to read forums. Okay, so there is like thing literally called ref, so should be possible to do something like that. Hopefully that will do the trick. And there we go. Here are all the passports. We managed to parse them all. Isn't that epic? Isn't it epic? I think it's pretty good, damn it. So here are all of the passports, and we parsed them successfully. Cool. Now we need to validate them. So basically we need to check these all like required fields except CID. And CID is sort of the optional one. So I think we need to form an array of them. So let's use a little bit of Emacs magic to achieve that. And we're gonna do something like this. It's gonna be like that. And it's gonna be like that. And then we're gonna just do it like that. And can your Vim do that? Ooh. Okay. So dlang array. I need an example of array one more time because I want to see. So kind of okay, array declarations. How do you, okay, this is how you initialize them. So that means I can do something like string fields, maybe required fields. It's too long, unfortunately. And on top of that, I wanted this thing to be immutable, right? Immutable, and maybe even static, right? So this thing is going to be immutable, static. Nobody will be able to access it and whatnot. All right. So the next thing we can do, essentially, we can iterate through all of the fields. Fields like this, right? So we're iterating through all of the fields, and we need to check if the field is available there. But maybe instead of having like an array of strings, it would be better to have a set of strings so we can quickly like check them there. Something is really strange going on outside. Okay, dlang set. So we have std container, make tree, you can make array. Okay, so what about sets? Right. Oh, right. Okay, you can do. Okay, that's cool. Thank you. So if field name in required fields. I'm just thinking, so we can just count how many fields you have. So what would be the best way to do that? We can maybe like put all of these names into the same array and just compare if they're the same. Or is there any way to remove a field out of the required fields? Is there any way to do that? dlink remove iterate over a required field. I also thought I was trying to come up with something more interesting. But to be fair, removing is going to be the same as iterating. Yes, removing is going to be the same as iterating. Okay, sure. Makes sense. Alright, so let's iterate over them then. I was hoping to make something more interesting, to be fair. Required field. Okay. Required fields. And now we need to check whether it's there. Now we need to check whether it's there. And you cannot use in there, right? You cannot use in. But one of the things you can do, you can actually take the fields and maybe something like field names, right? Where you take fields, you map them, and you take a single field out of it, and then take the name out of that thing, right? And then you convert it to, oh my god, Emacs, come on. To array, do it like that. So here's the field names, so which makes it kind of easy to do if a field, required field is in field names, right? Field names, and required field is not equal to CID because it's optional. Right. So we need to do the opposite. If required field is not in field names, and required field is not CID, then we have to return false immediately, otherwise it's true. Something like this. So how do you do opposite of in? Opposite of in, is that a thing you can do? dlang in. Just like you did, okay. Oh, you know what? We can just simply remove it from this thing. Why do we need to even do it like that? That's actually, yeah. So essentially, just check only these things. Yeah, you just don't fucking have to simplify it. If it's not in there, instantly false. Okay, let's take a look. All right. Instead of C-styles, use D-style. Oh, okay. That's funny. That's really funny. Okay, so auto must satisfy the following constraint. Okay, so what's the problem here? Like, why does it have to satisfy such constraint? Excuse me. Oh, it's a template. Yeah, I see. Okay. Template instance to T, and it doesn't know what it expects. Okay. So, for fuck's sake. Okay, template instance does not match templates. Incompatible type for required field and field string and string. Okay, for fuck's sake. Template to array. Oh, okay. Incompatible. Well, you see, it doesn't work. You see, this syntax literally doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Okay, so, alright. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Nothing works. Okay, dlang check if element in the array. Okay. Okay, so this is how we do that, just for your information. Can find, okay, array, field names, can find required fields, and if it cannot find it, you'll have to do it like this. All right, so and it didn't do shit because I didn't print the result. Would you like to look at that? Would you look at that? Result. So how many of these mother flippers do we expect? 2. Do we really expect 2 of them? Do we really expect 2 of them? Yes, the valid is 2. So this entire shit with CID is so confusing. They're trying to debate us. It's like a classical competitive programming shit, right? When here's the list of the required fields. Oh wait, one of them is not required. It's fucking. Can you come up with something more interesting than that? Jesus Christ. All right. So let's get the input, I suppose, and maybe solve the first part and see how it goes. Always debate. I mean, it's just debating is the laziest way to make the problem difficult. It's just so fucking lazy. But who am I to comment on that? I never created my own problems, right? So get your puzzle input. Let's see if it's gonna work or not. Okay. So we have this shit, thousands of lines, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna fail. Yeah. So this is basically I need to implement that, and I forgot to compile that yet again. Make how many of them are we gonna have? 2, 2, 2, 2. Would you look at that? What about 3 2s? And there we go. Debated. Well, I was not. Debated. I was not. All right. Are you guys ready for the second part of an epic advent of code adventures? All right, the line is moving. Okay, let me guess. I'm not gonna read it. Let me guess. Oh no, that was not how the system worked. It actually works the other way, so you have to slightly change your isValid function. Is that how it's gonna go? Anyway. The line is moving more quickly now, but you overheard Airport Security talking about how passwords with invalid data are getting through. Better add some data validation quick. You can continue to ignore CID field, but each other field has strict rules about what values are valid for automatic validation. Right, so this one, 4 digits at least and at most, okay. 4 digits at least as a most, 4 digits as a most. A number followed by either CM or in. If CM, the number must be at least. Jesus fucking Christ. Seriously? Is that how you regulate difficulty of the problem? Just by throwing more bullshit into it to implement? Okay, sure. I mean, at least it's not some sort of a puzzle that is difficult to understand, it's just a literal implementation. So, your job is to count the passport where all required fields are both present and valid according to the above rules. Here's some example values. So, valid and valid, valid and valid. Here are some invalid passports. Here are some valid passports. Count the number of valid passports, those that have all required fields and valid values. Continue to treat CID as optional. In your batch file, how many passports are valid? Okay. It's not even difficult. Yeah, it's really not difficult. It's just mundane. It's like really. So yeah, how we're gonna approach that? I think I need to, you know, a little bit more tea. I think they reduced difficulty this year. In the early days, the 6.0 was much harder, and also they so build on each other. Yeah, maybe they're trying to like appeal to a broader audience, and you know, once you become broader, you have to become easier and more approachable, and that's why. Maybe at some point we should like try to solve 2015. Yeah, that would be interesting. So far I'm kind of enjoying this kind of stuff. So yeah. So maybe we're gonna like for each individual of these things, we can try essentially have separate function. So for example, is beer valid? It will accept a string and returns a boolean. This one is going to is IYR valid, and then we can construct a map, right? It's essentially name and function, the validator, right? So something like this. It's literally just one person who's working on them. Well, I just didn't want to assume their gender. Okay, so I didn't know who's organizing that. All right. So. All right. Let's actually create the separate functions. It's actually interesting that it's organized by by a single person. It's pretty cool. So how can maybe I can just do something like this. So we don't need CID because it's missing or ignoring, so all of that doesn't really matter. Is this thing valid? So, and we're also gonna have string value, and this thing I would expect to also return boolean. There we go. So, and this is what we're gonna have here. So, So, let me see. So it's gonna be something like this, and boom. All right. So for now, I think we can simply return false. We can simply return false. There we go. Cool. But I need some sort of a map. But maybe not. Maybe I don't need any sort of map. Maybe I can just have a tuple. To string to what's the type of the function in dlang function type. Delegates. I kind of afraid that maybe it may not support what I want to support. Let's put it this way. Type of function. Functions, types, unless somebody will actually backseat me and tell me how to have a type of a function. Where are all of the backseaters when I actually need them? My god, how do you do that? Basic base types. Like every time I really need help, like, no, we don't know. Something obvious. Here's how you do that, Mr. Streamer. Int function. Oh, is this the type? So, okay, okay, you're just trolling. I see. All right. Nobody speaks D. Okay. It feels like maybe they are... Okay, oh, I know how to Google that. dlang function pointer. Because the D developers come from the C background, C++, and they call these kind of things function pointers. So that's their... They're called delegates. Are they delegates? I keep going back to this delegates bullshit. Delegates. Oh, here they are. Oh, here they are. Delegates. Okay. Do not rely on FP being different values. Okay. So that means I can do something like this. Okay, so that means I can do boolean string. Isn't that epic? So, another thing. I wonder if it's gonna work. Maybe I'm gonna just use something like this. Yep. There we go. Why are you not doing the thing I want? Thank you very much. So this one is gonna be like this. Is this thing is this valid, and if I understand correctly, I can take a reference of this entire stuff. And would you please indent everything properly? Thank you very much. This looks okay. All right. So now we have like a field names, but that's not enough, in my opinion. That's not enough. I wish there's like a better way. So yeah, I think we'll have to organize like a nested loop of some sort. I think that's what's going to be required. But anyway, so this is a required field. Let me comment it out and see if this entire shit compiles. It doesn't compile. Would you look at that? I love it. Template instance, template tuple is not defined. So maybe I have to import std tuple then. Import std tuple, because that's the feeling, that's the gut feeling I have. All right, tuple set. No. dlang tuples. Typecode, Jesus Christ. Obviously the stuff related to tuples is located in std type cons. Oh my god, how could I be so stupid? Yes, thank you so much. Type cons. All right. Hello to step. Welcome to. Oh, but that didn't work. Using the result of the comma expression is not allowed. Would you look at that? Okay, so I'm using this thing incorrectly. dlang. What is that? A tuple. What's the syntax? I don't remember syntax. Bruh. For fuck's sake, that I don't care. But why? Type cons. Okay, come on, bruh, come on. Yes. How do I construct that? You construct it like this. Alright, so this is how I do that, right? So that means I can do something like this. Tuple, right? Is that what I'm doing? I think that's how I'm doing that. Okay, cool. Please work. I showed you my code. Please compile. Is not a valid template value argument. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, they're sort of named. That's what it is. Without the, you think? Probably. So that means it has to. Cannot implicitly. Okay. So you know what? At this point, I think we have to admit the defeat and essentially just create a struct, right? So required field, and that field is essentially going to be consisting of a name and a validator, right? So so the delegates. Let's go back to the delegates. Yeah, so the delegate is supposed to be something. Emacs, calm down. Emacs, don't jump around, please. Is valid. There we go. So that's what we have to have here. And I suppose here, instead of all of that bullshit, I can have a required field. Right, so here's the required field. And here I can just have a required field. There we go. So now, if I try to recompile that, cannot implicitly cast expression of a type to. Okay, so that means it doesn't have to be a pointer, so it can be just like that. And function is not callable using argument type. But I'm taking a reference of it. Are you fucking serious? Why is it so hard to make such a simple thing? Just replace delegate with a function. What do you mean by that? How can I replace it? Like, where is the function type? Function? Is that what you mean? What do you mean by that? I don't understand. The documentation shows me just delegate. It didn't work either. But that means I'll have to do it like that. Why did Google shows me this delegate stuff if it has to be a function? Okay, Jesus fucking Christ. This is not the most difficult part yet, by the way. So, okay. The next thing. For fuck's sake. Required fields. For fields, let's actually do for each. For each field, fields. Imagine fighting. Yeah, exactly. Love it. Love it. Doing that all the time. So if field name equal required field name, then and so if it's equal the required name, so we actually found that and required field is valid. Is valid what? Field value. Okay, so if we found a corresponding required field, but this thing turned out to be invalid, well, this is instantly false. Right, something like this. It's too huge of a line, but I think I'm okay with that. Right, so if we went through all of these loops without any problems, that means that's gonna be okay. Yep. And it seems to be working, cool. Because in all of the cases, this validation is just false, right? So now we'll have to go through all of these things, and implement the corresponding validators. It's gonna be fun. Trust me, it's so fun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 validators. This is such a creative and interesting problem. Oh my god, love it. Anyways, so 4 digits at least. So what's interesting is that can I just do something like to int, like value to int, and simply auto x? And will it crash something? Will it crash something if it's not the correct one? So the 4-digit birthday is this, and something like 2002. So does it really crash or throw any sort of exceptions? So we can try to check that, by the way, by going somewhere here. Let's do it like that. Void main, and I can try to do something like test to int, and then I can try to write it and see if it throws any sort of exception. Will you throw an exception? And it doesn't even compile because focus on the code. Here we go. Do you throw exceptions? Do you throw? Yes, you do throw exceptions. Is there any more like reliable way of doing that? Or do I literally have to do something like try catch? What's that function? What kind of exceptions does it throw, by the way? What kind of exception does it throw? It throws conv exception. Okay, so makes sense. It's going to be conv exception, and in that case, we can say something like white lane, not an integer, right? Not an integer, and let's see if it's going to work. Yeah, that's exactly what we have to do. Apparently, in D, that's how you check whether it's possible to do something like that. You use exceptions. Literally Java 6, yeah. So in this case, it's just a conv exception, and in this case, we're gonna return instantly false. So that's how we're gonna go about that. If throw, oh, that's actually pretty nice. I didn't know that. So let me see. So it's essentially it's just a try catch as in the form of, okay, so nice, okay, so it's a little bit prettier, I can agree with that. But what's funny is that it doesn't fit our purpose. It doesn't really do that, because if it throws exception, we actually, well, like, we have to check it. It needs to be a result type which I can penetrate with like map and stuff. Like this particular if throw, I think it takes a lazy scope. I'm not sure if I understand it. What does it mean? To int? Oh, it doesn't fit. I think it doesn't fit here. It just straight up doesn't fit here. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're gonna use exceptions. Okay, the second field. So 4 digits and at most to 10, 2010 and 2020. There we go. Expiration day, 4 digits at least. Well, luckily they are pretty much the same. We could probably, you know, extract that to a separate thing. Value between, right? Value between, so it accepts the value, and int low, int high, right? And essentially we can just do it like that. We can also assert, right, that low is less or equal than high. Not height, but high. Low, high. And in here, we can just do something like turn value between 20 to 10. Code reuse, by the way, everyone loves code reuse, right? Because it feels so nice when you reuse the code. So this thing is 2020, 2030. Value between 2020 and 2030. Cool. Okay, a number followed by either CM or in. If CM the number, okay, that one is interesting. Do we have regular expressions, by the way? Maybe we could like utilize regular expressions here to extract all of these things. That would be pretty cool, I think. But maybe not. So okay, let me close all of that. STD rejects. Okay, so we can try to do that. Does end with exist? I don't know. It doesn't actually have that. Okay, so I'm gonna try ends with. Oh yeah, would you look at that? Thank you so much. Apparently we do have ends with. And it accepts. All right. This thing ends with. What the hell is it doing? A range. If it ends with one of those, what is it doing? Check if the given range ends with one of the given needles. Ah, okay. That makes sense. If it's one of those. Alright. So, and afterwards. Both of them are 2. Okay. So, we can do the following thing. So, value ends with CM. If value ends with CM, we're gonna do one thing, like CM. And this thing probably will return something, right? If value ends with inches, we'll have to do the other thing. To return false. Okay. And if after that we didn't find anything, this is straight up false. That makes sense, I think. That makes sense. Cool. Substrings. How can you do substrings? dlang substrings. I'm pretty sure it has some sort of a slices and stuff like that. How to get a substring? Node forums. When I see these forum discussions, I don't even want to read them. I get so demotivated to look into them. No. Thank you very much. You do you bike shedding yourself without me. I just want to solve my problems. Nothing special. Okay. Last index. Substring. What's the preferred way substring is in D? You shouldn't have to cast. Okay. Chops of the first character. Okay. So really. Cool, but I wanted like chop off the last two, and I don't think it's gonna work the way I want it to work. So this is actually like the syntax is really dumb. Not gonna lie, I really don't like it. So we're gonna have 69 centimeters. Right. It doesn't even compile because I forgot to put this thing here. Please work. Oh shit, the code didn't even work properly in the first place. Okay, value function. Okay, so let's go and replace this thing. Should accept the value between. This thing should also accept the value. This thing should also accept the value. Cool. 69 centimeters. Okay. So now, if I try to do something like like this, will it do what? What it will do? It will do exactly the opposite of what I want to do. Alright, can I do something like 0 minus 2? Is that what I can you do something like that? Yes, that's exactly what I want. Thank you so much. Cool. Now, essentially take the value and take that to int, right, to int. Oh, and I can use my magical value between, right, so it can be a value between. I just put this thing there, and the value in centimeters has to be something like this. So 150, 93. I hope I didn't make any mistakes here. Alright, so this is the height. It's kind of interesting. If you're not within the range of that height, your passport is invalid. Okay, so that doesn't sound good. Alright, so let me see. So this is gonna be return, and this one is gonna be slightly different. It's gonna be a different range completely. So what's gonna be the range? 59? Not even 69. Not even 69. 76. 76. Cool. Yeah, Keikona units are done. Let me see. So I have 2 entry points, so let me actually quickly remove them. Hello, Cozy White Bear. Welcome to the streamers. Welcome. How are you doing? So HCL, hair color. The following by exactly 6 characters. Followed by exactly 6 characters. Should be pretty straightforward to check. Essentially, length has to be 7, right? If value length not equals 7, straight up false. Fuck that. Afterwards, if value 0 not equal hash, fuck that. Then we are iterating through 1 to 7, not UI. Thank you very much. If value I not between these two values. Something like this, and value I 9. Doesn't mean that if I have 58 inches I can get through. Yes, you cannot. Well, I mean, it just means your passport is invalid. But the other question is going to be, what does it mean for your passport to be invalid? So what are the measures against the people or with invalid passports? So maybe they're let through. Maybe they're not according to the problem. I don't know. So, but yeah, in any case, it is what it is. It is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't. How's the stream? Stream is going quite well. This problem is it's really mundane, as somebody mentioned in the chat. It's not even that interesting. It's just mundane. So instantly return false, and here we'll have to return true. Right, you just have to implement all of this validation, and if you make a mistake anywhere there, you will have to go through these validations things one more time. I don't know. So ECL eye color, okay. So ambient blue, it's amber, I'm sorry. Brown, gray. I really like this color. It's a gray color. Okay. So let's put all of that in here. It's gray. Yes. Very beautiful gray eyes. Love it. Love it so much. Cool. Let's put it like that. And chat, I'm crying. So what we're gonna have here, it has to be an array of these things. It's gonna be string, colors. Okay, code. I'm using Kikona spelling, by the way. And what we can do here, if value can find, I think it's colors can find value, then it's gonna work, hopefully. PID, it's a process ID. So is it gonna work? Is it gonna, cannot implicitly convert this value to string? I forgot. How do you do that? How do you construct an array? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm a dummy. Okay, so some of them are already partially valid, which is kind of strange. Why the fuck are they valid? Okay. To a 9-digit number including leading zeros. Alright, so that means this value has to be at least 9 digits. Value length has to be equal to, not at least, but equal 9, right? Okay. You're not checking if all fields are present. I do check, I think. Yes, I think I don't. So we'll have to think about this loop a little bit more after we implement it. So return false. Just return value equal 9. 9-digit numbers, including zeros. So that means it's a very important condition, but it's not enough. We also have to check that all of them are digits. Yeah. So 9. And that's why I'm doing it like that. That's why I'm doing it like that. If value I not and value I 9, we're gonna return false. True. Okay, so, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna do a thing. Okay, so it found something, but I'm not sure if it's a correct thing to do here. All right, so value between, we check at least and at most. All right, so I want to go through all of the validators one more time, just to ensure if I didn't do any sort of fucky-wucky. Right. Okay. So 1922, okay, this one is correct. 2010, 20. Might as well actually split my screen, so this is not how I want to split it. I want to kind of split it like that, so cool. Right. 10, 2020. So if we are in centimeters, right, ends with that in centimeters, it has to be this and this. If it's Kekona units, 15976. HSL, it's like has to be 7 characters, right? 7. The first one is going to be hash, and we go through all of them. In that, not that, and not that. That return false, otherwise return true. So that's kind of important. That's kind of important. Okay, the next one is. So that one. Oh shit. So hair color. Okay. ECL. We just check all of these things, and then PID. A 9 digits number. Okay. Whew. So, and we don't check all of the fields. So we go through all of the fields. Right, we go through all of the fields. And if we find the field, we check it. But what if we never find the field? That means we're never gonna check it. That's why we don't check all of the fields. So let's introduce something like exists. False. And if we found it, okay. So we found the field. We found the field, and we instantly say that it exists, right? We instantly say the field exists, so it becomes true. And if it's invalid, it's instantly false. Instantly false. Alright, and after that, I think we can break it because we found the field, there's no point in searching for the rest of the fields. And after that, if the field does not exist, it's also false, like this. So, and that could be the case. 140. So, are you ready for an epic failure? I'm gonna submit that number and... Oh, first try. Did you look at that? First fucking try. Easy. Who's the god cooter here? To be fair, it's a horrible problem. I don't like it. It's a really bad problem. So yeah. Is this like seriously? Alright. So I'm gonna commit this entire stuff, and we're gonna do git ignore. Let me see. So what we need to ignore here is that stuff, and also O stuff. Do we need to do anything else? To be fair, like I saw people actually committing their inputs, and the question is why people do that. I don't quite understand, because for me, like these competitive programming problems, they're not really about the input, it's about the code. So your code should work on any input. It's kind of the point. But people still submit that. Like, do they write solution for their specific input and nothing else? It's kind of boring. Like, why? It's pointless. It's not useful for anyone. Maybe I just don't understand something, but it's kind of strange to me. Okay. So I personally don't mind to share my input, but it's just useless. Okay. It's works on my input type of deal, I think. Probably. I committed as an example input. Ah, okay. Probably. You have test case value provided input. Okay, sure. Sure, buddy. Sure. Okay. So add solution. add solution for day 4. And let's push that right into the repo. Hello Crazy Wolf, and you can check out my solution here. So there you go. Yeah. So it took me 1.5 of an hour because I don't really know D that well, so I had to constantly Google up simple things. But apart from that, that was not that difficult. So yeah, we're gonna solve the next problem tomorrow, right? So I'm intentionally lagging behind in solving problems, so I don't spoil the problems for people who are currently solving like 5 and 6, right? So that's why I'm lagging behind, not because I'm lazy. No. It's all of that intentional. All of that is intentional. So tomorrow we're gonna try to solve the 5th one, and we'll see how it goes. And I wonder at which point I'm gonna stop and say that I'm too dumb for this shit. Maybe it's gonna be tomorrow. Maybe it's gonna be tomorrow. But that's it for today of Advent of Code, and we're switching to a game development. That's what we're doing. We're switching to game development. So the first half of the stream was Advent of Code. We're done with that. You can again check out my solutions here. I'm gonna post them here. And the second half of the stream is game development in C++. We have a running project. Currently running project called something. It's not the final name, it's just a code name for this thing. And it's a simple platformer. Not really that simple, but it's a pretty cool like action platformer. Let's take a look at it. So it's called, as already mentioned, something. I wish I could just go there, but that's kind of difficult for me. Something, and let's actually fetch the latest changes. I'm gonna check out the master. And so what's the status? Do I have anything dirty in my tree? Do I have a dirty tree? Always wash your tree, chat. Don't let your tree become dirty. All right. Git branch, git merge, origin master. Okay, git branch minus d317, and let's rebuild the whole thing. Get a tree a good old rub. That's right. That's what you have to do. So we're booting the game, nothing special. I'm gonna show the game pretty soon, once it's built. It shouldn't take too much time. Come on, you can do that. I believe in you. So it should be over any second now. It's gonna be over. Come on. Okay, that was the release build actually. Release build take quite some time. So, but the game looks like this. Like you can do pew pew pew. And you can have different enemies that can follow you, can attack you and stuff like that. So recently, by the way, we introduced a pretty cool thing. So we introduced, first of all, a stomping attack, right? Like you can stomp. Yeah, it actually looks pretty cool. I really like how the camera shakes. You can notice that the camera shakes when you do a stomp. So we coded all of that yesterday. And this attack is reserved specifically for this kind of enemies. And yesterday we developed an AI that can work with the stomp attack, because the AI for the previous enemy doesn't know anything about stomping. It only can work with guns, right? So it basically tracks the player, and if it sees the player, it starts shooting. So that doesn't work for stomping. So for stomping, you have to like act a little bit differently. You have to track the player and get to the player as close as possible, then jump and try to stomp them. And that's exactly what we implemented, and this is how it looks like. So yeah, and sometimes it stacks because our collision detection is shit, but it's gonna be fixed in a separate issue. But generally, this is how it looks like. It just tries to stomp you all the time. Yeah, so which is actually pretty cool. It doesn't have any guns or anything, but yeah. So this is what we been developing yesterday. So it's a little bit janky because I mean it's just the first approximation of the of this thing, but today we're going to continue developing it. That sounds like something interesting? Probably not, because we lost like 20 people. So it's definitely not something interesting, but this is something that I need to keep doing, because this is my project. Right, so yeah, before I continue, well, I mean, I can understand people probably came for Advent of Code, and now this boring real-world project coming in. Who fucking wants to watch that? Nobody fucking wants to watch that. So let's actually change the title: Game Development in C++. An anonymous cheer, thank you so much for 100 bits. Thank you. All right. So update CMD project. Today we are doing. Wait, do people actually do that? That's quite pathetic if people actually do that, and it makes me kind of sad. Today we're doing game development, because everyone uploading their own solutions, so I can see somebody actually doing that, and that's probably why there is no prize for Advent of Code, right? So I think inputs are randomized per account. Sure, that's a good prevention mechanism for, yeah, yes, that's so good. Okay, so today we're doing game development. You got them. Yeah, you just randomize the input and it solves everything, right? Because everyone obviously codes for their specific input and nothing else. Game development in C++. So source code is available https github.com zozin something. There we go. So this is where you can get the source code. So I want to close this thing. And before I actually start doing anything for this game, I want to make a cup of tea, because I mean, like, I was coding 1.5 hours straight without interrupting or anything. That was quite stressful. I need some sort of a stress relief with the caffeine and stuff like that. So let's actually make a cup of tea. What's up, Kolumbetka? Welcome. So, does anyone have any questions, maybe while I'm making a cup of tea? It's not going to be that long. I just need to put some leaves into my vessel, and then I need to turn on the kettle, and then we can try to look at what we want to implement for the game. So feel free to ask any questions, if you have any, of course. Why not coffee? Because it has too much caffeine for me. And it's actually more difficult to make on the stream. Yeah. Any other questions? Alright, so I'm gonna quickly go to the kitchen and, sorry if it was too loud, and quickly turn off the kettle, and it's gonna be like less than 10 seconds, hopefully. We'll see. What's up, Epic Gamers? Do you have a final vision for something, more or less? What are your plans over Christmas? Will you take a small streaming break? I live in Russia. We do not celebrate Christmas. It's actually kind of funny, like, answering that question all the time, but I'll tell you one thing. I started to learn English when I was like 22, and I didn't even know that Christmas is that huge of a thing until I was 20, at least outside of Russia. So no, it's just a regular day for me. I mean, I kind of like vaguely knew because of the American movies and stuff like that, but I didn't know that it's that huge of a thing that people will ask you about it all the time. No, it's just not a thing in Russia. Your Christmas mug. So what? You think anyone understands what's written on this mug? And of course, just because I have a Christmas mug, I have to celebrate Christmas. I'm just obligated. That makes sense. That somehow makes sense. I don't know how, but somehow it does. All right. So obviously, and it's not even my mug. It's just mug that was there when I like rented an apartment. I rented an apartment with furniture and stuff like that, and the mug was just there. So it's not even mine. Jesus Christ, people. All right. So what do we have here? Do we have any issues that I planned for today? I think I planned some notes. But I don't remember exactly. Stomping state stacks when hitting a corner of a tile. Could be something interesting. We can take a look into that. Yeah, we can try to take a look, but I need first my tea, I think. So essentially, I think I can reproduce that. I think I can try to reproduce that. So the entity has different states. It's essentially a state machine if you think about it. Right, so right now it's in idle state. Now it's in moving state, so it can be in jumping states, and when you try to stomp, it will be in a stomping state while it's falling. Right, you can actually see how the states are switching. There's like a small word under the entity. So, and yeah, the thing about stomping state, I think there's some problems. When you stomp on the corner, yeah, it sometimes stacks. But I think it has something to do with the size of the entity. I think we can try to increase the size of the player somehow. Vars config player. Do we have player entity maps, player text? But okay, so we can increase the size of the player. The player is going to be, let's say, 100 now. And it didn't change anything, which is kind of interesting. But can I increase a hitbox here as well? Okay, I cannot. So, alright. So apparently we don't use these values anymore in the code. Huh, that's very interesting. So these values don't work anymore. So let's see if we use them. I can't search for them because my Emacs is broken yet again. So, yeah, grab RN, please give me the play. Okay. Ah, I know. Okay, so that means I need to restart. There we go. Now that's a thick boy. That's a fucking thick boy. So essentially, yeah, right now I need to recreate the entity to apply those effects. So just a second. Yo, I'm back. Back. Champion of the arena. Yo. How's it going, everyone? How's it going? So, I have my tea. We're gonna steep it for a little bit. And after it's steeped, we're gonna fucking drink it. We're gonna fucking slurp it. So, essentially, let's actually see how this thick boy stomps. Right, so it should stomp pretty hard. Yes, it stomped so hard it actually stuck in the textures, but that's okay. So what I want you to do, I want you to see, I think it's somewhere here. Let's try to stomp. It actually clipped through. It's expected behavior. Oh, there we go. We stuck in a stomping. Can you see that we stuck in a stomping? That's quite interesting. Because I cannot move, and it shows stomping, and it cannot go through that state somehow. And I think this is due to how we detect that we hit the ground. I think that's because of that. So I'm kind of thinking, how can we implement all of this? So hit the ground. Where will the game be released? Everywhere. Well, at least it's going to be released on Steam and maybe GOG, itch, whatever. It's going to be free, by the way. It's already free and it's already open source. You can download the source code, the current source code of the game right now if you want to. So it's a completely free game. It's going to be a complete fucking trash. That's why it costs nothing, right? So this is my, just a test project. I'm just learning how to do game development. Nothing special. Because I'm not a professional game developer. I'm not a game developer, though. I don't know how to make games. Believe it or not, I don't really know how to make games. All right. So, guys, are you ready? Are you ready for a little bit of a TSMR? For a little bit of a TSMR, because I'm fucking ready. Are you doing Advent of Code this year? No, I don't. I don't do Advent of Code this year at all. I don't think it's worth it, actually. Yeah. Okay. So, let's pour a cup of tea. Need to update stream title? Really? Do I really need to update the stream title? I don't think so. You're literally debating me. Oh my god. God damn it. So. Is that a new tea accessory? I mean, it's just a French press that I bought some time ago instead of teapot. I just find it a little bit more convenient making tea. So. Okay. So let me see. I think, as already mentioned, it could be due to how we detect that we hit the ground. So in the entity, Rolf.
List coding is games programmer codingon.
Stop exposing me, come on. Thank you so much for 11 months of Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you, and welcome to our epic game development club. How about that? Cheers. Alrighty. So, entity. So, need to relax. Got really wind up by Advent of Code problem. So now I need to just relax and chill. And see what we can do with our game, right? So what we have here is a function called ground. So this is a very important function which answers a simple question: is entity on the ground or goddamn not? Is it on the ground or not? So let's see how this shit is implemented. So yep. So where it is? So it's gonna be ground. No, this is not where. Entity CPP. Cool. So what do? We take something called fit. Something that is called fit. All right, and that's quite interesting. So we take the tile size and move it like down below a little bit. Okay, so we're trying to look at the tile down below. That's what we're trying to do. So the question is, what is fit? So essentially what we take a hitbox, shift it, all right, and then look at the center. Okay, that's really dumb way of doing that. That's a really, I think this was some sort of a hack to quickly get something working, but this is a very dumb way of detecting that we are on the ground. So I'm going to show you what exactly this method means. So we'll probably have to implement something more like proper, something that works on the level of collision detection system. We have like a simple collision detection system, and it somehow knows how to, that we hit the ground and that the velocity has to be cancelled out and stuff like that. So it has to be done on that level somewhere. We'll see. So yeah. So I'm gonna bring my graphical tablet and we'll see how it's gonna go. So essentially, just gonna quickly take my tablet. Alrighty, so here is the entity. So what is the fit of the entity? Right, fit of the entity is that exact point. That's what it is. So, and if you have some sort of a grid, that looks like this, right? Let's actually put it this way. And somewhere here, you have this thing. So as you can see, the player is standing on a tile, but its fit point is not standing on the tile here, and that's why it may stuck stomping without knowing that it's time to stop stomping. Void is coming. These ones. Would you consider to a few Advent of Code problems for a donation language of my choice? I'm not sure. Like, I already switched to game development. It's kind of difficult for me to switch the context. I don't know. Depends on the donation, I suppose. Like, I don't know. Because switching the context, like, is kind of difficult, and I don't know if I want to do it that easily. I don't know. Probably not. Let's say no. What's the reasonable donation? I don't know. I cannot answer that question. I'm sorry. So, all right. So let's continue. So this is the problem that we're having right now. This is the problem. And what would be a better way of actually detecting that we hit the floor? So collision detection. So where do we do a collision detection? Collision. So collision mesh. Okay, so render debug. Collision mesh. Projectile collision. Resolve point collision. So resolve entity resolve collision. So this is where we do all of that. So the game actually resolves collision for the entity. All right. So and essentially what we do here, we take a look at the entity. If its entity is alive, we go through each of its mesh point, right? For each of its mesh point. And I think one of the things we want to do here is detect that we're on the ground. So basically, the moment when we need to cancel out this kind of thing. But sometimes it's kind of difficult to tell. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. We can have in the entity itself a special field. So has jumped, right? So has jumped, and maybe ground, right? and maybe ground. And this field might be set by the collision resolver, and then it's going to be unset during the update. So this is one of the things we can do. So during the update of the at the beginning of the frame, we set all of the ground flags to 0. Then after the collision resolution, the corresponding flags will be set, and then we're going to do some sort of updates. But that will work. So here's the game update, right? So we have a game update. Clear all ground flags. Clear all ground flags. Then resolve entity collisions, right? Then update entities, and then do everything else. So this idea will work if update does these things in this particular order, right? So first we're going to clean all of the ground flags, then we're going to resolve the collisions, which may set the ground flags to their corresponding states, and after that we update the entities, basically let them process these flags and make decisions upon them. So on the next iteration we clean them again, and so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. I'm really sorry, like I'm still wind up after the advent of code, so I just really need to calm down. All right. So maybe drinking tea for that is not a good idea generally, but so did I remove it already? Okay, damn it, I already removed it. What did I miss? I don't know. Like, I don't know when you joined. So because at the beginning we did advent of code, and then we're doing that, and what I'm saying is that like advent of code actually was a little bit stressful for me, right? And that's why I'm still trying to chill after the advent of code. So that's what I'm saying, but I don't know what you missed. So now, again, I want to take a look at the order in which we do the operations in the game update, right? So we have a game update. So we go through all of the entities. Okay, so we do enemy AI. We make decisions on the enemy AIs. Then, oh, this one is interesting. First, we resolve. First, we update the entities, and only then we resolve the collisions on them. That is very, very interesting. Okay. I think it is done for a very specific reason. Because in update, we set has jumped. Okay, this is getting out of hand, I think. It has jumped, and then, yeah, because the fact whether it's jumped or not then is used in the collision detection. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, I remember that. That's actually very funny. Maybe it's getting too complicated. But at some point, maybe I'll come up with a system where we don't need to do this kind of stuff. Or maybe we're gonna have like some sort of event systems, right? But even event system is not gonna be perfect for this kind of situation. Whatever. In any case, so we do the collision. The collision may set the ground flag, right? And we can handle that ground flag maybe on the next iteration of the game loop. Yeah, maybe on the next iteration of the game loop. But at some point we'll have to... Essentially, it could be controlled by the collision system completely, right? But the collision system completely. So if there is no ground, it just sets false to the ground flag. If it hit the ground, it sets true. So it's completely controlled by the collision. Why not? That way we don't have to even worry about that, I believe. That way we don't even have to worry about that. So let's go to the entity resolve collision and let's see what's gonna happen there. So we have entity mesh rows, so we go through the rows, and then we have some sort of an impact. If this is Y and has not jumped, all right, so we do it like that. Okay, this one is interesting. So this is where we do all of that, right? dy. So the impact. I'm just trying to remember what that means. So ty t0. So so t0 is old position of the mesh. It's the old position of the mesh. T1 is the new one, if I remember correctly. We're subtracting them and we get a vector of the thing. So if dy is positive, right? If dy is positive, that means we moved up. That means we moved down. So we're looking for a negative one, right? If d less than 0, in that case we know that we hit the ground. And what we can do here, we can take the entity ground true. Otherwise we need to do false, but we can actually, you know, put something like this. But I'm not sure if it's readable enough. Yeah, I can do something like that. It could be like, I'm not sure if it's readable. You see what I mean? Because you have to force yourself to decipher this kind of thing, so it would be way better if it was like a little bit more explicit. The more I program big systems, the more I realize that sometimes explicit code like that is better, even though you will make CS grad student laugh at you, right? So, because CS grad students, they never developed complicated systems where you have to, you know, go through a shit ton of bullshit and try to understand it, so that they have no concept of readability. But maybe sometimes that's the sacrifices you have to take. So you have to value readability more than respect of CS grad students who are incapable to find a job in the industry anyway. Yeah, that's the sacrifice I'm willing to take. So, but then it will overwrite previous mesh point. Yeah, probably. So maybe we can do something like that. Maybe we can put it like this, right? Right, we're gonna set it to false initially, and if you hit at least like this thing at least once. That's a good point. Thank you so much. Let's make landing to attack enemies around. No, this is a collision detection system. Making, you know, landing attack enemies is a special state of an entity called stomping. So it's in a completely different part of the application. This one is just a basic collision resolution, nothing special. So this is where we set the ground. Otherwise, it's initially set to false, and yeah, something like that. Okay, and then this information can be used in further. So I do realize that this system like a little bit complicated, and I'm waiting for an opportunity to simplify it. Right now we don't really have that much of an opportunity to simplify it. So we have a ground. Okay, so let's actually put ground underscore instead. Yeah, ground underscore. Okay, so now we have these kind of situations. All right. And yeah, there we go. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it will produce something reasonable. Maybe it will not. Who knows? Okay, I'm building release. I should not build release because release usually takes too much time. So I'm gonna build only debug. Maybe I should introduce like a couple of phony targets. So essentially, the phony target is going to be debug. Right, debug, and it simply depends on debug, and then we're going to have release, and it simply depends on release. And the reason why I want to introduce them is just because it's easier to type just debug, and then we can just do these kind of dependencies. So now I can do make just debug, right, and it will build on the debug. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Let's see if I didn't break anything. Hopefully I didn't break anything. That's a thick boy right there. So maybe I should cancel the changes that I made to the variable file. Okay. If you have, there we go, boys and girls. We just detected a CS grad student. Welcome to the stream. Okay. So let's do the next step. And remove the ground function from here completely. So we'll have to go through all the compilation errors and just remove the use of that function. We'll see how it goes. So here I can just replace it with that. I wonder in how many places I'll have to do that, because we use that in quite a few places, not gonna lie. So another one is gonna be this, and I wonder if it's gonna even work, because so much stuff depends on that. Okay, and this entire thing is also gone. Do we use fit anywhere anymore? Yeah, we kind of do. Yeah, we kind of do. So fit are gonna stay the same. But ground detection is completely different now, that's for sure. So here's the stomping, and when we're stomping, we just check that we're not on the ground. Simple as that. And what's funny is that you don't need a ground here anymore, a grid here anymore, because the entire decision is made outside of this entire function. So entity HPP, and where is it? Where is it? I forgot. So it was stomp, and let's remove this entire thing. So that will make, yeah, that will make it fail in more places, but I'm willing to go through them. Yep. So it simplifies everything. Okay, that was actually a pretty good decision. If it works, it's an amazing decision, to be fair, because I'm simplifying like a lot of code right now. Yeah, because now it's just stomp and jump. Kevin's Jorberg, I hope I pronounced the name correctly, I'm not sure. Thank you so much for 2 months of a tier 1 subscription. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome to our epic game development club. How about that? How about that? How about that? Cheers, by the way. All right, so yeah, let's rebuild it one more time. Okay, and does it work? It doesn't work. Nice. I really like that, because it's supposed to play the floating point exception. Nice. So it didn't work, apparently. Apparently it didn't work. So that was not really a good decision after all. Right. But that was interesting nonetheless, I think. So speaking of stomping, stomping kind of works actually. And then it gets like a floating point exception. I wonder if it's possible to reproduce that. So at least in the debugger, right? Will it be reproducible in debugger? Because I want to like catch the moment when this stuff happened. Wonder. I mean, it should be reproducible in the debugger. That's for sure. Because I want to know the place where that happened. Okay, so I think it happened. So, all right. So it happened in get particle color for tile. So tile sprite. Oh shit. Okay. So let's actually go there. Okay. So particle. Particle. And where is it? 195. No. Where am I? Entity 195, okay. Entity 195, and this is what we have here. So the tile sprite. So where do we get the tile sprite? That's a good question. And somehow it turned to be a 0? Like, how did it happen to be 0? I don't quite understand. Why would it be 0 at all? In which universe it is 0? Can I actually explore things around me? So if I enable TUI, okay, so that's pretty cool. Can I print, for example, tile sprite and see what's inside of it? Yes, it is completely 0. Alright, so that means... tile at ABS. Huh. So let's take a look at the position. So what is the position? Okay, the position is relatively reasonable. I don't see any problem with the position. So, and maybe tile at ABS actually returns some bullshit, so it could be the case. Tile at ABS. So I think it's actually not supposed to return bullshit. But sometimes it does. Okay. Wait a second, this is really strange. Yeah, it returns the point. Okay. Why don't I check that this thing is there? What the fuck is wrong with me? Did I roll that? Yes, I wrote that apparently. Yes, okay. So this thing can return null, and I don't check for that. So yeah. It's because the tile below declare empty? Yeah, probably. Okay, so in that case, what should we do? Well, I mean, get particle color for tile. I mean, only if tile exists, so only then it makes sense, otherwise it doesn't really make much sense. But yeah, this thing apparently can return null, and I didn't take that into account, but I'm really glad that it actually failed. Right, so let's put that into a tile, const auto tile, like this. Right, so this is a tile now, and maybe we can return maybe HSLA, right? So if tile, then we're gonna do that, right, so we're gonna do that. Otherwise, we're gonna just return nothing, and this one is gonna be true. Right, this one is gonna be true. Create tile. It's not a bad idea actually, but it's not really. No, it's not really like empty. It's empty would return you like an empty tile, and we have the definitions for the empty tiles and shit like that. I think it's not that hard. Okay, so the current color, get particle color for tile. So, yeah, do we have a wrap? One of the things we can do here actually is auto color, tile color, right, and tile color unwrap. And here, if tile color has value, only then we're gonna do it like that. There we go. And then we're gonna do it like that. Okay, so that compiles. So now we have to go back here and restart this entire thing, and hopefully that will make sense now. No, it didn't help whatsoever. Did I even rebuild anything? Okay, so yeah. Make minus b debug. It's kind of strange, like it should not happen anymore. Seriously. Like, but it does happen. It still happens. But what's funny is that, yeah, there we go, it still happens, but maybe it happens in a different place now. That could be a thing as well. Maybe it just happens in a different place. So let's just play around and see if it happens in the same place. So, yeah, there we go. I think it happened. It actually happens more frequently, and it still happened. Okay, so if we take a look at the tile itself, it is present, right? And it's 0. Right, it is 0. Oh, okay, so if we take a look at the tile definition, where they are defined actually, I think they are defined... I need C tags. Can I have C tags, please? Alright, so the first one is a tile empty and it doesn't have... yeah, it may not have anything there. So if I try to do something like this, tile empty, do I even set it up? I don't think I even set it up. Yeah, I don't think I even set it up. So somewhere in the main, tile definition. Yeah, we only set it up for the walls. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So basically it tries to get the color for the air. It tries to get the color for the air. That's what it does. Because how we detect the ground, the definition of how we detect the ground has completely changed. That kind of makes sense. Okay, so, and yeah, I simply just don't take that into account. So how was it called? It was somewhere maybe HSLA, so this is where we have all of that, and essentially the top texture might be missing, and we simply don't take that into account. The sprite itself can be missing. The sprite itself can be missing, and in that case, I suppose we can also return nothing, right? So if tile sprite struct sprite. You know what? Let me actually try to set up C tags or E tags or something like that. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Right. So I think it's something like E tags, and it's going to be src, and I want to put all of the files there. Okay, so now I should have like a juicy tags file, and in here I should be able to do the following thing. So this is a top texture, and then I can give it like that, and yeah, there we go. Then I can go here to the structure definition and texture index. Okay, so usually it always has a texture index. That's very... oh god. It has a texture index. I saw in the tile dev that it has false. It's something about collision, but it's not necessarily true. Okay, maybe it's something that we want to do. Tile definition. Do we have a structure for tile definition? No. Okay, let me go back. Let's take a look at the tile definitions. So, collidable. Okay, so we can probably use collidable for that as well. Okay, if tile and this thing is collidable, yeah, look at that. So yeah, with C tags it's a little bit more convenient to jump around in the source code. I think we can use collidable, because why not? Because if it's collidable, that means you're standing on it, that means you're generating the things. If you're not standing on it, well, you probably don't generate anything. That makes sense in my opinion. That makes sense. Alright, so does it compile? Does it compile? Hopefully that does in fact compile. Hello, this is Nur. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Really glad to see you. I don't know why I'm building the release. Okay, so let me just quit everything here. Let's do this thing. Okay. So when I'm moving around here, we don't really generate as many particles as like anymore as we used to. So let me, but I think it's a pretty sufficient amount of particles. Like, it's okay. But it's way less than we had before, I think. Sometime, look at that. I'm not in the air, that's what's interesting. Like, but it still can do that. Okay, that's very interesting. So maybe it also makes sense to print not only our alive state, because as you can see below we have alive state, but also our jump state, because something wrong is going on with the jump state. But maybe not. Oh shit. Detecting that we're on the ground is actually a pretty difficult problem. Maybe that will require a refactoring, like changing the paradigm of the collision system. I wanted to say is collidable makes a lot of sense for particle system, but you already thought of it. Yeah. So it feels like maybe we need to change the paradigm in which we're like detecting collision and stuff like that, because I think it's not the right paradigm to think in. Maybe we should constantly track the tile we're standing on. So I'll need to come up with some sort of like a movement system at some point that just makes more sense and eliminates the whole class of these kind of bugs. Right. But obviously I cannot come up with that system on the stream, so we'll have to just live with those bugs for now. So yeah, I did a little bit of research, and I think the conclusion I came to is, yeah, we need like a different movement and collision detection system. But which one is going to be best for this game, I don't know yet. I need to do more research off screen, that's for sure. So that's why for now I'm gonna change, I'm gonna revert all of these changes, and we'll have to live with those bugs for now. But yeah, that was an interesting experience nonetheless. So something debuggers, so yeah, we'll have to live with these kind of bugs for now. I used SDL too. Okay. So I'm gonna put that to the backlog, and I'll try to work on something else. New collision system hype. Yeah, because this one is kind of janky, so I'm not sure if it's like suitable for the game I'm trying to make here. Yeah. Because the game is very dynamic and it needs to be very precise of these kind of small events that happen within this system. So it needs more sophisticated collision system and stuff. So I'll try to prototype something off screen at some point, and then we can maybe try to integrate that like to the game. We'll see how it goes. So before we move on, I think I want to make a small break because I need to refill my water and stuff like that. So it's gonna be 3 minutes. It's gonna be 3 minutes yet again, and let's go. All right, let's make a small break, and you guys have fun. There we go. Yo, what's up? Welcome back, Epic Gamers. How is it going? How is it going? So, are you ready for more game development? So, we need to choose what we're gonna do next. We can do something, a little bit of refactoring, I suppose. We can just move some stuff around, but is it really interesting to work on? We can work on some content. I wanted to do something about refresh the page, refresh the page. Refresh the page, otherwise you're gonna have a delay. Otherwise you're gonna have a huge delay, and to avoid the delay, refresh the page. That's what you have to do. Refresh the page. Refresh the page. Alright. So, I don't know what happened, like my internet blinked. Like literally my whole internet just went down for a couple of seconds. Thank you, ISP. Very cool. Russian internet, by the way. So, what I was talking about, I wanted to give the ice golems a little bit more interesting behavior. But I realized that after a recent, introduction of AI, they don't have any behavior at all. So, but the behavior that I gave them before that was essentially the shooter brain, right? So let's actually go to the entities, entity CPP, ice golem entity, right, somewhere here. So it's going to be entity. It has a brain, and we're going to use a shooter brain, right? We're going to assign a shooter brain to it. This is how it acted before the AI refactoring, right? Let's take a look at how it acted there. Here, that was kind of a bad idea, but okay, let's create another one. Yeah, there we go. So it tracks you, and it tries to kill you with these snowflakes or whatever the fuck it is. So I think it's kind of a lame behavior for an ice golem. I think ice golem should do something more interesting. For example, maybe it would have an attack that sends like an ice wave that, goes on the surface of the tiles and stuff like that. Yeah, so that will require creating a special kind of weapon, first of all, that can send this kind of really weird projectiles, like a wave of ice spikes. You know what I mean, right? So the wave of ice spikes. Or maybe it could be like a single attack of like an ice spike. Right, that's right, it could be something like that. It's not necessarily has to be a wave, but yeah. Yeah. So something like this. Does it sound interesting? And then we'll have to come up with the behavior for the enemy that uses this kind of weapon, and so on and so forth. What's interesting is that so far we're working with the enemies that have only one weapon, but our system actually enables them with having several weapons. Right, they have like an array of weapons that they can hold, and they can switch between them. So maybe they're gonna have a brain that, depending on the situation, will switch between the weapons. That is actually very interesting. I want to explore that idea. So let me try to do that. So for example, imagine that maybe not ice golem, but specifically a dirt golem would have two weapons. It would have stomp. Right, it would have a stomp as it has right now, and on top of that the rock gun, so it can throw rocks at you, but if you get very close it will try to stomp you. So that's very interesting. So basically this is how we can explore like a multi-weapon situation, right? And the brain is going to be responsible for switching between the weapons. And since the brain has an access to the whole game, if I remember correctly, right, it has an access to the whole game. Brain CPP. Yeah, it does have an access to the whole game. So the only thing it knows is the game, the whole state of the game, the entity for which we're calculating the next move, and the room we're in, right? Because it's needed to take the BFS tracking information from the grid. So that would be very interesting to explore a little bit. Yeah. What's up, Rustemsky? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, let's go ahead and try to do that. I want to do a little bit of a research. Multi weapon enemies. So some sort of like research on oh my god, it's so slow to type for some reason. I don't understand why. And this is because my tea is actually boiling for some reason. Why is it boiling? Wait a second, it's not supposed to boil at 100%. Huh. That is extremely strange. Alright. Okay, so let's continue. Research on multi-weapon enemies. Okay. Multi-weapon enemies. Cool. So first thing I want to do, I already mentioned that several times, is that we have this repeating piece of code, right? So in both of the brains, this is the repeating piece of code, and this is a very interesting piece of code. Essentially what it does, it tracks the player, right? It just tracks the player. And maybe it makes sense to extract all of that to its own separate function. So track player. So, and where do we use the player? So maybe track other entity, maybe. So when we're using the player, oh, we don't even, okay. Yeah, we don't even need the player because we're just following the BFS trace. Okay, so we can call it follow BFS trace. That's actually perfect. I like that. Just follow the BFS trace. And we're gonna accept all of these arguments here as well. Yeah. And then this is the whole thing here. This is the whole thing. So basically track BFS trace. But we don't have an entity position, so we'll have to take this thing here as well. Alright, so, and hopefully we'll be able to replace this thing like this. So track... Oh my god. Is it... Did I call it track? Follow, okay. Yeah, maybe it will be better to call it follow. Follow BFS trace. So we take the game entity index and the room we're in. The room is just called lock. And that simplifies the logic of a shooter actually dramatically. If the entity is alive and the entity sees the player, it just stops and shoots. If it doesn't see the player, it just follows the BFS trace. So this is a very simple AI logic and it works beautifully. So, and here we can do the similar thing. Right, follow the BFS trace. It's going to be game entity index and the room we're in. So, and yeah, it again simplifies the logic dramatically, right? This is the logic for the stomper. If the stomper is really close on the x-axis and below the player, it tries to jump. If it's above the player, it tries to stomp. Otherwise, it follows the BFS trace, which is effectively follows the player. Yeah, I like how like AIs are now so easy to describe. So this is actually pretty cool. Okay, So this is how it works. Everything looks okay. It tries to stomp me. Cool. Yeah. And what's funny is that the follow BFS trace, if you think about it, it has absolutely the same signature as any of these functions. So which means by itself, it can also be a separate brain. So let's actually do something like, let's call it follower think. Follower think. Right, so, and maybe I could have just replaced it. So wait a second, not follow. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, so basically brain composition. So we can have several brains and you can compose them together. So you can have like a brain that acts like two different brains depending on the situation. And this is exactly what I want to do right now, because if you have two weapons, you have a gun and you have a stomp. So you can have like a higher order brain that looks, am I close enough to the player? If I'm not close enough to the player, I'm gonna act like a shooter. If I'm close enough to the player, I'm gonna act like a stomper. Yes, this is actually pretty cool, I think. Yeah, I really like that idea. I think it's a pretty cool idea. Too bad we lost too many people to appreciate this kind of idea. Yeah, this is usually what happens with the stream. You struggle with the ideas, right? And people see that you struggle and they don't want to watch your stream, they leave. And then once you got there, once you finally found like a gem of an idea that you can implement, everybody already left and nobody gives a shit anymore. So that's why you always have to be perfect. You never have to make mistake. You never have to be stuck. Otherwise, you cannot be a good streamer at all. Right? Otherwise, people just leave because they think, oh, this dude doesn't know how to program, so he's struggling, obviously, so they just leave. It is what it is. So, I complain about that all the time. I don't know why I complain about it, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so, follower think. Let's actually create a follower brain, right? Twitch is a popularity contest. No shit! Okay, so, follower brain. People who leave because the programmer is trying kind of miss the whole point. Yes, thank you. That doesn't pay my bills though. Alright, so follower brain. Follower think. Cool. Okay. So now we have a follower, and what's funny is that if you go to the entity, and for example for the ice golem, instead of the shooter brain, right, you would do something like brain follower brain, right? So now the ice golem is going to just follow you without trying to attack you. This is kind of cool, I think. If you think about it, let's actually see how it's gonna go. Right. Yeah. So it just follows you. Right. And it's gonna follow you only within the single room. Right. So, yeah, but the shooter uses the same, like, brain. It acts like a follower until it sees you, and once it sees you, it just shoots you. So this is basically the composition of brains that we can have here. That's actually very fucking cool. And what's funny is that it doesn't point the gun at you, right? It doesn't point the gun at you because it's done by a shooter. Only the shooter changes the gun. Alright, that's cool. And now let's take a look at the brain. Okay, I think I'm gonna commit whatever I have already here. Follower think. So maybe in the future it's gonna be useful. Okay, introduce follower brain. Follower brain, I'm gonna push that right into the repo. So now we have a follower brain. Now let's make higher order brains. So I want to introduce dirt golem brain. No, it's not really gonna be that. Shooter stomper think. So basically the composition of both shooter and stomper. If you're far enough, it's gonna act like a shooter. If you get closer, it will try to stomp you instead of shooting. So it will depend on how close you are to the enemy. To the enemy. Okay, so let's give it a try. 18, like that. So let me see. Friendly companion. Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a friendly companion. Entity state, and as you can see, like it becomes like more and more like higher order because shooter acts like is a wrapper around follower, stomper is a wrapper around follower, and shooter stomper is a wrapper around both shooter and stomper. So we have like a tree of brains. Entity state. Okay, entity state. Where's the fabulous hair today? I actually, shaved it completely. I'm really sorry about that. The hair is gone. Alright. So we're gonna do these kind of things only when we are alive. So how can we gonna do that? I think we're gonna just calculate the distance between the positions of the player and the entity. So what's the distance? You have square distance, you have square length, but do I have a distance? Well, yeah, we have a square distance. Okay, so that's fair enough. I think we could just use the square distance. So square distance between entity position and a player position. Oh my god, player position. There we go. So and then if this thing is less than stomper distance threshold less or equal, actually double of that, right? It's gonna be double of that. Right. That means we're gonna act like a stomper thing. And we're gonna pass all these arguments there. Emacs, please just... Yes, thank you so much, Emacs. And then we're gonna have a shooter thing. Game entity index log. There we go. So this is the whole logic, right? This is the whole logic. So if we're close enough, we act like a stomper. If not close enough, we act like a shooter. Very fucking simple. But the question is, what is a stomper distance threshold? That's a good one. So I suppose it's going to be something like, let's say, 200, maybe 500. So if you're really far away, it will try to shoot you. Yeah, and let's try to rebuild all of that. Let's try to rebuild all of that, and let us see. So did I assign this brain to anyone? I don't think I assigned this brain to anyone. So let's go to the brain HPP and let's create this brain. So brain stomper, shooter stomper brain. Yeah, turn shooter stomper think. Cool. Is it gonna build now? Is it? Hopefully it's gonna build. We'll see. And it didn't build because I didn't forward declare this function. Let me quickly forward declare it. There we go. So that forward declared should work now. Should work now. Okay, it doesn't compile. Why exactly don't compile? Semicolon. You see, you missed a single semicolon, and this is the amount of shit you get. Yeah, exactly. Very helpful compiler, like literally single semicolon, something that is extremely easy to detect, and just stop the compilation and just say, bruh, you missed a semicolon. You can do that on the level of parser. No, you have to continue parsing the shit, generating more and more confusion. Thank you, GCC. Very cool. That is absolutely beautiful. Fucking GCC, what can I say? Such a simple fucking thing can do that. Cheers, by the way. Anyways. Okay. So what do we have? Yeah, I created the brain and I'm gonna assign it to the... This one is interesting, actually. Because another thing that the Stomper shooter brain has to handle is switching the weapon. That's right, it needs to handle switching the weapon. That is very fucking important. So essentially, let's go to the dirt golem. I think it's just a golem entity. There we go. Yeah. So it has a weapon. Rock gun. But where is the stomp? Wait a fucking second. Stomper brain. But how does it... Wait. How does it work? Did they change it? Did they change it somehow? Excuse me? Golem. What? Am I going crazy? Why is it... How is it stomping? Is it if it doesn't have a stomper? What the fuck? It has a rogue gun. Am I crazy? Stomper. I think I'm going crazy. What is a rogue gun though? Like it's not supposed to stomp. Where is the rogue gun? Exactly. What the fuck? Stomp is property of a body? No. What do you mean stomp is a property? No. Oh, wait a fucking second. Oh, okay. I think I'm going crazy, chat. Like, what the fuck? So this is a player entity. I just put... Yeah, there's a stomp move. Stomp move is available only for the player. That's the thing. Didn't I rebuild properly? I think I rebuild everything. It should just work. Oh, wait a second. I think I know what the fuck is going on. We actually... Oh, I think I know. This is so painful. The brain doesn't shoot. It stomps directly. Skipping any weapon. Yeah, the music is still loud. I'm sorry. I'm just making it a little bit. Thank you. Finally, somebody actually mentioned that because people rarely mention that. So yeah, thank you. So, do I want to do anything about that? Or do I want to leave it as it is? Maybe. I think it's gonna be okay. Is Void of Kind increasing? Yes, it is increasing. Automatically, by the way. Every time. So, let's continue. So that means if I go to entity and golem, it's gonna be stomper, shooter stomper, brain, keylogger. Yes. So this application, by the way, is keylogger. Literally, it just waits for specific combination of characters and automatically increases every time I do that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. By the way, you can find the source code for this keylogger here. We actually developed it. God damn it! It actually even counted this thing. So yeah, we developed it on the stream, and it works pretty great because it listens directly to the input device in Linux. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna give this thing a try. So I think the distance is too high. Yes. Okay, it's trying to stomp. Yeah. So let's actually try to decrease the distance for this thing. So let's say it's gonna be 200. Maybe that will do something. Maybe that will do something. So, and let's create. Let's actually. You know what? Let's go to the place where like it's a little bit bigger, and I'm gonna create this thing. It still tries to stomp me, right? It still acts like a stomper, which is not ideal. So that means the threshold should be even lower, because I want it to act like a shooter, and then if I get too close, it will act like a stomper. That's exactly what I'm trying to achieve. So maybe, yeah. The question is how close you have to get to it. None of that works. Okay, I'm gonna make it 10. Seriously, this is ridiculous. Like, how little of a distance does it have to be for it to trigger? So maybe I should have like some measure, like a ruler, so I can estimate the distances and stuff like that. That would be cool. No, it always acts like a stomper. Did I fuck up? So okay, golem entity. Golem entity. Here it is. Because I'm an idiot, I didn't assign the stomper brain. Am I gonna succeed in the game industry? You know how the John says. Alright, so brain. Well, I mean, I definitely never gonna succeed in the game industry because I'm not even a game developer. So yeah, well, I mean, it has brain, it just doesn't have the right one. Yeah, we need to give it the right brain. Rabin, not Rabin, but brain. Alright. Cool. Bruh. I don't have the right brain too. God damn it. Feels bad, man. Sadge. I would even say. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay. Okay, that's really interesting. So that means the threshold is too low. Alright. That's already something. Maybe I should have actually moved this thing to a variable so I can control that, but fuck that. If you want to succeed in the game industry, don't forget to change the brain, yes. Hello, Energy Light Twitch, welcome to the stream. How are you fucking doing? I see you're very excited about what's going on. Welcome. Alright, so is it gonna attack me? Yes, it does attack me, but if I get a little bit closer, it tries to fucking stomp me! And it stacks in the fucking ground, which is completely intentional. This is a game design decision, by the way. This is a game design decision. I mean, yeah. And then we can just kill that. Oh, it actually... Okay, I see. Whatever. I'm a professional game developer, as you can see. Oh shit, that's actually super cool. Look at that. That's so fucking sneaky. Look at that. Oh shit, this is... Yeah, it tries to both stomp you and shoot you, and it's stuck actually in stomp case. Alright, that was cool. Oh shit, oh fuck. This is like a boss battle or something. I don't know. it's pretty cool. And I mean, the entity is dead, but this thing still tracks that dead entity, so it just looks at the position of a dead entity. That's why it keeps jumping on it. So, and what's funny is that this kind of like pattern is really common in games, right? It's really common in games. So yeah, after your death, it's basically teabagging me after my death. So yeah, the enemy actually teabagging. Alrighty. So yeah, we developed like this Stomper shooter brain, which is kind of cool. But maybe I want to adjust the distance a little bit, just a little bit. So it's gonna be brain, CPP. Let's make it maybe a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit more interesting. So if you're too close, it's still gonna try to hunt you down and stop you. No, all that jazz. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it actually a little bit more eager on stomping you if you're too close. Yeah, it tries to shoot you and then it just bam, bam, it debates you. It literally debates you. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I think we're gonna commit that because I really like this idea and really like the composition of the brains. You have a very simple, the most primitive brain. It's the follower brain, right? That thing just follows you. Okay, we have more complex brain. It's a shooter brain that basically, if it sees you, it shoots you. Otherwise, it follows you until it sees you, right? We have other brain that is on the same level of complexity. It's a Stomper brain. So essentially, if it's above you, it will try to stomp you. If it's not above you, if it's below you, it tries to jump. Otherwise, it follows you until it's close enough to you. So that's basically the idea, right? And we have even more complex brain that composes shooter and stomper, right? So essentially, if you close enough, it acts like a stomper, including the following behavior and stuff like that. And if it's far away from you, it acts like a shooter. Right, so this is the most complex brain, and we can have like this decision tree that grows more and more complex in the future. And what's interesting is that these are just functions; they're just procedures. There's nothing special about that, right? Simplicity is the key. The simpler your system is, the easier it is to maintain, the easier it is to update, refactor, and extend, all sorts of things. That's starting to look like ECS. I have no idea what that is, I'm sorry. I'm not a game developer, I'm just a software engineer, so I'm not familiar with these game development terms, you know. I'm not in an industry, don't understand that, sorry. Sorry. Okay, so introduce multi-weapon brain. There we go. What was that supposed to fucking mean? But we're gonna fucking introduce that. And before we're gonna make a pull request, I'm gonna do the full rebuild. Don't be sorry. No, you. Pog you. Entity component system. You have entities and your component are the brains. I don't know. My brain is a part of well, I mean, I do have a notion of an entity. Look. I have struct entity. Right, I have a struct entity. And inside of that structure, I have a brain. Is that what you call entity component system? Because yeah, I have a structure entity, and in the entity I have a brain, and it works. Because I mean, it's just obvious you have an entity with a brain. It's like, is that what it is? I don't know. I mean, I'm just writing structures, and that's it. Okay, so I don't know why we need to come up with a new name for this thing. Let's just call them structures and functions. I mean, we had the name for this kind of thing for like decades, for 50, 60 years. And why do we need to change the names for them? Like, this is a structures and functions, right? So let's just call them functions and structures. I think it makes sense. We don't need to call them ECS, BDSM, whatever the fuck it is. No, functions and structures. It worked for 50 years, it worked for 70 years, it's gonna work for 100 years. Works for everyone. Alright, so let's create a pull request. Hello CC Catch 69, welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, let's create a pull request. Multi-weapon enemies, and yeah, this one, let's create a pull request and wait a little bit. Okay, we're just waiting for continuous integration to continuously integrate. We also need to introduce a continuous differentiation. I'm sorry. So very funny, I know. Wait, is this coming? So what else do we have here? Let me see. Where's the stream report button? Fucking banned for unfunny puns. Okay, so this one is done. What else can we do here? Is there anything interesting? Yeah, we can start working on the ice spike. We can start working on that shit. But I need an ice spike asset to actually implement something like that. So does anyone have an ice spike asset? Please. I'm a poor game developer. I don't have money to buy assets, so I have to beg for assets on the stream. It's like on the streets, but in 2020 it's on the stream, right? People used to beg on the streets, now they beg on the stream. Oh, fuck. I think my water kicked in, so... can't you yoink from Unity assets? Maybe. I'm gonna go to my usual place where I steal assets. The dumpster. It's not really a dumpster, but it's called opengameart.org. It's full of free assets, so you can just yoink stuff from there. So ice spike I found. I'm gonna try to open that on the separate screen just in case. Cool. Thank you so much. Oh shit, we don't even have anything. Do we have just spike? Do we have just spike? I really like this one. How do you like this spike? Huh? I especially like the description. Simple cactus. Nice. It's very cool. That's why I like this website, by the way. Because it's full of programmer's art. You don't even have to like draw your own programmer's art. You can just take someone else's programmer's art. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Who's that manly guy? Gotcha, Gazm. Okay. Cool. So maybe we have anything else. Maybe we can steal some ice spikes that are, well, I mean some spikes, and just rebrand them, like maybe recolor them to make them look like ice spikes. But apart from that, oh wait, I saw a crystal that looked like ice spike or whatever. I think I saw that shit. It was somewhere. Yeah, there we go. We have crystals, motherfucker. And all of them are public domain. Oh shit. Where do I download this? Okay, so there's like a whole zip thingy. Okay. Hair is gone. Well, it is what it is. I'm 30 years old, so the hair is gone. Long time ago. Yeah. What's up, Neutral Second, by the way? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How are you doing? We're just yoinking assets. Yoinking assets. So here's the sprites, and I'm gonna just download this stuff here. So gonna be crystals. That was a mistake, I think. But no, it wasn't really a mistake. Okay, we have a lot of shit here. So different PNGs and whatnot. Even with the sources. Nice. And there is also crystal icy. Icy. Okay, cool. Let's actually create a separate folder, crystals. And I'm gonna open this folder, put it here, and I'm gonna try to unpack. And there we go. So yeah, as you can see, this was a zip bomb. Yeah, it's a common creative. Nice. It's even public. Yeah, it's basically public domain. As far as I know, CCO is a public domain, if I remember correctly. Okay, so 32 by 32. What about icy? Fucking perfect. Look at that shit. Oh my god. Just a second. This is exactly what I want. That's fucking exactly what I want. Okay. So now I probably have to, like, I'm not sure if I can just, you know, carve it around with like a rectangle or whatnot. Maybe I can. Mine's still better. Well, I mean, but it's probably like under very strict license. This one is under public domain. Can you release your assets under public domain? I don't think so. You'll probably demand a lot of money for this kind of thing. So because of the licensing problems with your assets, I have to choose this one. I'm sorry. But obviously yours better. So yeah. If not the licensing issue, I would actually choose it. Okay, so we also have preview. So there's also readme crystal tile set. So yeah. Oh, okay. So this is like the author, I think. Let's take a look at the website of the author. What's up? Welcome back, Code9. Oh, that's cool. So this is the author of that crystal. World Guide. It's a fun, friendly, and free multiplayer online adventure game with an old... Oh, shit. Where do I download? Okay. Is it only on Windows? So play now. You have to log in. God damn it. And it's probably only on Windows. Let's actually try to take a look at it. Sounds interesting. I really like it. So by the way, check it out here. Yeah. Let me see. wget. That looks pretty cute. I like how cute it looks. It's on the SourceForge. Would you look at that? Jesus, look at the amount of redirects. My god. Oh shit. Typical SourceForge. Exactly. God damn. So, let's take a look at unzip stand hull. And it's in Java. What the fuck? Wait a fucking second. We might actually try to run it if it's in Java. I mean, so it makes it like cross-platform and whatnot. Okay, didn't expect that. So let's create the directory and move stand hull zip to stand hull. And of course, yeah, let's unzip that zip bomb. And there's, yeah, so there's executable, which is probably like a Windows executable. Stand hull. Oh, god fucking damn it, my numbers are smoking again. Okay, so it's a P32, it's 32 bits executable. Alright, so let's do source opt java environment and let me try to start. I hope it's not gonna actually nuke my machine or anything like that. Hacked, by the way, hacked in before hacked. Creating custom class, blah blah blah. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna actually hide it just in case. I'm instilling passwords. Oh shit, look at that. Okay. You have to log in though. Okay. This is actually kind of scary. I mean, I probably fucked myself over. I should not do this kind of things, like a random shit from the internet. So, but to be fair, yeah. Is it open source? Is it possible to... Yeah. Keylogger installed successfully, yeah, exactly. God damn it. Alright, so I'm gonna explore this application a little bit later, maybe. Maybe we can explore it right now. So if I unzip stand hull starter jar, so what kind of classes do we have? We don't even have that many classes. So selectable label starter, we can essentially just decompile this entire thing and see what it does. As far as I know, Java decompiler, we can see what it does. So there is a couple of like famous Java decompilers. GDGUI, I think, yeah, GDGUI. Do I have that? I think we can search for that, GDGUI. I think I had it installed at some point. Maybe it's with the dash. Okay, so maybe I have to download it from here. So I'm downloading yet another thing. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I used to use it for quite some time. Okay, jar. Okay, so it's showing me this thing. Let's try to open the jar. Yeah, starter. This is what we have here. So starter class. Okay, so what it does here, it makes a client. Okay, so it just checks the versions. Client runner. It looks for a class bootstrap. Creates the class. This is really strange. Like, what the fuck is it doing here? Okay, so bootstrap, like it doesn't, it specifically loads it from somewhere and does the boot. When it does the boot, so here's the boot. Set security manager null. Do privileged. Okay. Okay. Cool. I run this shit on my machine. Search for keylogger. I don't think it's... By the way, set security manager, like Java set security manager. I don't remember what exactly what it exactly does. Original security manager. Alright, maybe it's not that important. Privilege boot, array of strings. Clear update files, if boot. Self-building client. So far, I didn't really see anything really that bad. File output stream. Maybe it's downloading something first. Okay, it is downloading something at some point. Yeah, that's true. I didn't see anything super dangerous so far, to be fair. So, yeah. I'm gonna check it a little bit closer later, so whatever. I don't know why I actually decided to run it on my machine. I think I'm just stupid. But the site looked pretty legit, I would say. Development. Chat, introduction, report bugs. How many bugs people report actually? There's a bug tracker. There's also IRC channel. So it's done on SourceForge. Is there like a source code for this thing? So introduction. Source. Oh, wait a second. Source code download is available? Wait, really? So it's open source. Is that what you're trying to tell me? It is in fact open source. Source code. That's very interesting. Oh, it is open source, is it not? Okay, so that actually makes me a little bit less worried, I think. And does the source code point back to the original website? It actually doesn't point to the original website. Kind of. Let's click on it. It's a different one. Well, it's straight up different one. It's pretty recent to commit as well. Play now. Oh, okay. So this is points at the old website though. This is the download. We can try to download it from here. I think it's gonna be a good idea. I don't want to copy image, I wanted to copy address. Copy link address. So, and I'm gonna download it where? I'm gonna download it here. So this is gonna be the thing. So it's also downloaded from the SourceForge. So again, I think that standard is more built on game engine something. Maybe. Oh, okay, but maybe it's developed by the same developer. Developers. 56 megabyte. Is it the same? This is really interesting. I'm not gonna lie. So where am I, by the way? I'm in something. Okay. Did I cancel it? God damn it. I didn't want to cancel it. Sorting something, something. So if I take a look at that one inside of here, it's also around 5957 gigabytes. So what I want to do, I want to just take their hashes, right? Just take their hashes. So it's going to be md5 sum stand zip1. All right, and the one that I recently actually downloaded. They're the same. They're literally the same executables, and executables, but zip archives. And I suppose this is more or less official repo here. And it's primarily written in Java, so it's also open source project. It's just kind of difficult to find. And so this is the engine, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, this is really interesting. Yeah, Arena is the open source framework to easily create games, and Standhal is an official game built on this engine. Okay, so this looks more or less legit, even though I never heard about this project. So it's actually very interesting. And the way I found about this project is, by the way, through the Open Game Art assets. So apparently it could be an interesting way to promote your games and stuff. Alright, because what did we do? I just downloaded this thing, and with the archive came the README, where they just, you know, put their link there. So yeah, I think Open Game Art could be a really great place to like sort of promote your stuff, because people will download your assets, and from time to time they may check out README and just check what you're about. So yeah, interesting. I'm gonna try to play that game after the stream, maybe see if it's an interesting game. It's, you know, looks pretty cute though. I especially like its like really unpolished, unprofessional like look. For some reason, I kind of like games that look like this. There's something endearing about these games. Like, you can clearly see that people made it not for the profit, but, you know, they just wanted to make a game. And yeah, I don't know why, but I kind of like this aesthetics. Have you checked the best player on standard level for 31? Yeah, I've seen them, but I don't know what it's all about. So they're pretty. Yeah, let me take a look. Standho. I already lost the website, so. Okay, so let's take a look at them. 26 hours in the game. Nice. GPL2 license. Achievements. Deathmatch helper. Account is active. Registered. Okay. And already level might be a bot. I don't know. Maybe it's maybe the whole system is broken. It's super easy to get like 431 level. I don't know. They're married to Scrollman. Interesting. You can marry somebody in that game. Nice. And Scrollman like has bigger level. Why they're not on the top? Then something is wrong. 2,000 hours? They had 2,000 hours? God damn. So this is the best player, but yeah, Scrollman is better. Why they're not the best then? And 2,000 hours? God damn. So is this game worth 2,000 hours? Why not? Not bad, not bad. I already playing it out now? Maybe it's by achievements, I don't know. It's probably a dev, maybe. I'm going to register an account. Do you want to marry me? Sure. Just send me a marry request. And I will accept it. It actually sounds very interesting, like, yeah. Huh. Okay, let's continue. Ranking might not be based on levels, maybe. Yeah. It's very strange. Maybe I should try it out, maybe. Because I don't know how to create an account, because it probably will require like email and stuff like that. And I don't have an access to the email here, so we'll see. From tomorrow, this will be a full-time standalone stream. Yes. What is the void of and why is it coming? It's like Billy Harrington. It's fucking coming. Yes. So that's my answer to you. Okay. So let's take a look. I was doing that because I needed some crystals, okay? So now I do have crystals. Use stamp man. Nah, I want to use my email. I want my account to be legit. I'm gonna become a professional stand hall player. I'm not even sure if I pronounced it correctly. Yeah. What are the crystals for? The idea is that we're gonna introduce a new type of attack, right? A new type of attack. Where the ice golems will just punch the ground and they will just invoke a spike and it will just fist you. I don't know, like you know, the actual like ice wave attack or something like that, or you know, similar. It's kind of difficult to explain, but I just want to implement it. You got the idea, yeah. So it's kind of like very common in this kind of games. Yeah. Fist for free. Yes. Okay. Let's continue. Oh shit. I'm already a little bit tired. We're streaming for almost 4 hours, so goddamn. Standhole was the last thing that I can now. Too old. Alright, so I think today was a pretty cool stream. We managed to solve the advent of code problem. By the way, tomorrow we're gonna solve more. We implemented multi-weapon brains, which is kind of cool. Let me actually show you what we implemented. So now, the golem acts both like a shooter and like a stomper. Essentially, if you're close enough, it will act like a stomper. If it's far enough, it will try to shoot you instead. So look, this is how it acts. It shoots you, and then it tries to stomp you. So its behavior became even more complicated. You see? So you try to get closer, it will stomp you. So you cannot get very close, but if you're far away, it will just shoot you. So this is what we implemented. So, and this is done by composing several brains together. So let me show you. Brain CPP. Yeah, essentially like shooter stomper. Essentially, it just checks the distance. If it's distance too close, it's a stomper. If it's too far away, it's shooter. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, also we explored this Standhole game, and yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna play it. And I'm not sure if because of this game I'll have to cancel my stream, because maybe that game is too addictive. But in any case, I think it is time for me to go. Thanks everyone who's watching right now. I really appreciate it. Have a good one. And I see you all, guess when I'm gonna see you all? I'm gonna see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow we're supposed to have a code review, but I'm not sure if we're gonna do a code review. Maybe we're gonna do a different project. I don't know. I always wanted to think what I'm gonna do on the Mondays slot. And I still haven't decided. Maybe I will finally decide it tomorrow. So the tomorrow stream is gonna be mystery. It's like Friday stream, but Monday stream. So we'll see what's gonna be up with that. Also check out our schedule for more information on different projects we're working on. And also check out our VODs channel, right? Not Voids, goddammit, VODs channel. VODs channel, where we archive all of the streams. This stream is gonna be there, but tomorrow we archive them on the next day. And check out our Discord server for offline discussion with the community. And yeah, that's it for today, boys and girls. Maybe we should rate somebody. Who should we rate? Is the developer of Standhole streaming right now? I would rate them for that beautiful, beautiful game. Reverse engineer the game without the source. No, you do that. Okay, come on. Patch, just oh, nice. So we're gonna stream by raid by Lada. Okay, come on, Twitch, Uvu. I hope Paladin doesn't hear that. So, right. Okay, he's doing programming. Nice. Let's raid Page Lada. Let's raid Page Loader. All right. Get ready for the raid, boys and girls. Get ready for the raid, and I see you all tomorrow. Love you all. Mwah.